Federal law enforcement officials are also joining the NYPD in this investigation. Let's bring in Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas, along with ABC News contributor Robert Boyce, a former NYPD chief of detectives, for more on this. Pierre, police have now switched from calling Frank James a person of interest to calling him a suspect. What does that tell you, and what more do we know about him?
Well, that's what we're hearing from our sources. What this means is that they believe they now have evidence that puts him in that subway. Evidence, it could be fingerprints, but there's some telltale evidence that they now can point to say that's the person. It could be eyewitnesses have come forward to say that is the person, that person of interest that we've been seeing the videos of, the photos of, he's the guy. That is a very dramatic step in the investigation, but the key now is you have to find him.
Yeah, and that's going to be the hard part, no doubt. Robert, police say no officers were positioned inside that station and none of the cameras there were working. Why?
It's a failure on the cameras, that's for sure, and we can't have this. And it's really that could have helped enormously, as everybody knows. But they did get other evidence, and so as Pierre said, we'll try to tie him to that evidence and get him ID'd, and then the manhunt is on, which is on already. So hopefully we'll know more as we go into the morning hours today, as far as is the fingerprint, did a witness pick him out? Did we get him on a video when he got on the subway? If he got on the subway in the Gravesend, did we have that video? So we'll see how it goes forward. But it's going to be tough because he doesn't have his phone, or he doesn't have a phone right now that we know about. And we'll see what his resources is. He left his cell phone there. Now, who did he call? Who is he speaking to just prior to that? That's going to be really interesting to figure out exactly who else is involved, if anybody.
And Pierre, officials say that extended magazines were found at the scene. What does that tell you as they try to piece together motive and intention here?
Diane, one of the things my sources have been most concerned about is the intent to kill in mass, in large numbers. But for the gun jamming, my sources believe that other people would have been killed, more people could have been killed. Thankfully, no one has died from this incident. The people seem to be mending, even those who were in critical condition. But the extended magazines tells you the plan was to empty one clip and possibly go to two others. You can kill a lot of people with those extended clips, and you're talking about more than 15, 17 rounds per clip. And just think about that in a close quarters. And again, going to intent, he did this during rush hour when he knew the trains would be packed. So again, all this tells law enforcement, at least the officials that I'm talking to, is this is a person who had no regard for who he was shooting, be it children, adults, whatever. And when you have a person like that, that's why this manhunt is so urgent. You need to find this person, get him off the street, figure out what the motive is, make sure that there's no other person that had knowledge of this, helped him. There's no evidence of that. The mayor said that on Good Morning America earlier today. But again, we're in the early stages of this investigation. It's always fluid until you have the person in custody and you can put a bow on it.
Yeah, it sounds like as bad as this was, it certainly could have been much, much worse. Bob, but the bad part here, the worst of all, is that this shooter, as you mentioned, is still at large. So what are law enforcement agents doing right now to keep people safe while this person is still out there?
Sure, you're going to double up on all your resources out in the subways to make sure that it's over deployed. So you're going to see that across the city. You saw where it happened, 36th Street. There was a lot of police officers, 4 up, 4 down, 4 on the top side, 4 down the subway. You're going to see a lot of that hard targeting across the city until we get this person in. Let's remember how evil this guy is. He dressed like an everyday working man going to Manhattan. So, and then he came to do this. He's wearing a hard hat and other clothes to suggest he's going to work. So really, this was well planned. Wasn't really well executed, as you can see, but it was nonetheless well planned by this individual.
And Pierre, copycats are always a concern after an attack like this. So what are law enforcement agencies on the federal level doing to try to prevent anyone else from trying to replicate this?
It's truly difficult. At any given time, law enforcement officials have people that they're concerned about who could act out. But the issue here is that you have so many people out there who have undiagnosed mental health issues, so many people who are angry about various things. It could be something related to work. And you only know that they're going to act out if you get a tip from a family member, a coworker, something like that. So it's almost impossible unless you get that heads up. The bottom line in this country is that we don't want to make this a gun control issue, but the fact is we have 300 million plus guns already in circulation. So what that means is that anyone who's upset, angry, can likely get access to a firearm.
And Bob, we also know that this happened amid a general rise in crime on the subway and amid a push from the mayor to have an increased police presence on the subway, and yet this happened anyway. So what more can be done on that front?
Well, I think really what you have to do is go down there and start doing some hardcore policing in the subways. You have to get people to understand the subways are safe, and so you can't tolerate any different small crimes lead to big crimes down there. And I'm not talking about broken windows. I'm talking about someone who's jumping a turnstile, whatever the case may be, creating antisocial acts down there. It has to be policed really hard. And that's what he has to do. And I think he's talked about that quite often. And so people have to feel safe so they go back to work. These were all hardworking people yesterday. And that's the true tragedy here, just people trying to get to work and stopped by some maniac.
And so, Pierre, these are, the issue on the subway is specific to New York, but we're seeing crime, especially gun violence, rise across the country. So what more can be done in sort of on a federal level? Well, they're looking at ghost gun regulations. They're pushing for universal background checks. That's stalled in Congress. Not going to happen anytime soon. I think the good news for this story is this. The NYPD, the FBI, the U.S. Marshals will likely be involved. This is what these people do, and they're damn good at it. In terms of tracking down people, once they have an idea of who you are, they typically figure out ways to find people. They will look at relationships. There may be a clue left in the crime scene. You heard Bob mention the cell phone. I've not confirmed that from my sources, but if he left the cell phone, that's a clue. The U-Haul truck, it's a clue. There is scores, if not hundreds, of law enforcement officials working this single case on this one single man. That's the good news. So hopefully they will be finding him soon, and it sounds like they have all the resources to do it.
Indeed.
All right, Pierre Thomas, thank you. Robert Boyce, thank you. Appreciate the analysis, gentlemen.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.